Guys, let me tell you a story about the Doom Tower in Raid Shadow Legends. A long time ago, the Arbiter fought a pack of nasty bad guys, but she wasn't strong enough to take them all out for good. Now that Sarath is leaking back into the world, the Doom Tower is failing, and it's up to us to clean up this mess. Raid has just released a giant new feature, Awakening, and a brutal new dungeon, the Iron Twins Fortress. You need to experience this for yourself. Just log in and play Raid for 7 days, anywhere from now until October 27th, and you will add Ultimate Death Knight to your collection completely for free. But wait, there's more. New and existing players. Use promo code DKRises for a bunch of free items to instantly level your new strongest champion all the way to level 50, 5-star Ascension. If you haven't played Raid, click my link in the description or scan my QR code, do it right here on the screen, and you'll get a unique set of bonuses. We're talking a free epic champion, Kayrel, 200k silver, 1 energy refill, and 1 XP boost, and 1 ancient shard, so you can summon awesome champions as soon as you get in the game. All this treasure will be waiting for you here. Joe Rogan's gonna be a tough night out for anybody, right? If you're an expert of martial arts, what that largely means is that you've studied martial arts. You've studied it, you know what you're looking at, you know how to talk about it. Joe's proved that he's done that with his work on the mic. But getting in and actually doing martial arts, that's a whole nother level. Joe was like Taekwondo, but he was a black belt in Taekwondo. He gets into jiu-jitsu. He buddies up with Eddie Bravo, which is a very hard system. There are different systems out there, and the rubber guard, the 10th planet system is very different. Joe gets a black belt in that. He's into lifting weights. He's into being in good shape. I'm just saying, that's a tough night out. Mark Coleman found that out. And I know those two were playing, but you can have a smile on your face while you're digging in and pummeling with one another. I mean, I'm just sharing with you. That's a tough night. I remember when Joe went through that scam they were pulling. That terrible thing that they tried to do to Joe, but I do remember when they did that. Anybody else that had been in Joe's spot, there was threats. I'm going to kick your butt. You know, you hear things like this. There's death threats from some really cowardly guy on the internet. But this is very constant. Nobody said that to Joe. No, they said a lot of things to Joe, but they didn't say, when I see you, we're going to fight. I mean, it's just one of those things where he's a tough night out. And Joe talked about what got him there. First time ever. First time ever. Joe Rogan program, and he says that there was a kid in a bathroom, could mean locker room, synonymous term. Joe was 14 years old. In my mind, that puts him in high school. In my mind, that puts him as a freshman. Kid headlocked him. Joe didn't know what to do. Now, that is a very common move. It sounds as though the opponent in this situation also didn't know what to do. If you don't know what to do, that's when you guys know what a headlock is, right? That's one step before you give your little brother a noogie. But if you're doing it out of anger and you would prefer to be the one with the headlock than being headlocked, it was still a situation. And Joe said in that moment, he realized he needed to go get some training, join the wrestling team. I didn't actually know that about Joe Rogan. I hope to hear more about this wrestling experience, because I don't believe that Joe Rogan wrestled freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year. And the only reason I don't believe that is he's never said it. I've never heard that. At any rate, he joins the wrestling team. Got the Taekwondo. I think that's even when he was younger in life. Goes on to the jiu-jitsu, gets into weightlifting. But this was Joe's story. And I think you all have one of those. Let me tell you where this is really coming from. It wasn't from Joe saying this. In my life yesterday, I got to keep the names out of it. I deal with minors here. Kid on my wrestling team. I'm coaching down at the high school. Kevin Keeney's program, I'm one of his coaches. Kid on the team gets pushed in the back. And the kid that pushes him from behind not only is bigger, the kid's a junior. Now my kid, the wrestler, is a freshman. Means he's been walking these hallways for about a month. It's not really his school, right? He's still a little out of his range. And then you have a kid who's older and bigger, and he pushes him from behind. So the kid then, the junior, headlocks my guy. So my guy takes him down with a double leg, goes to side control. Oh, and I should mention, my guy's not only a national champion in beach wrestling, My guy's a brown belt in judo. And he wrestles every single day, but he's only entered 2-3 tournaments ever. He's entered countless judo events. So it's just kind of the wrong guy to grab, even if you're bigger and if you're older. Just kind of the wrong guy to headlock. My guy came to the ground, he goes to side control, then he goes to knee ride. So, I mean, you're seeing actual techniques. Nobody's expecting to see that in the hallways. Now, how do I know this? You're probably thinking because my guy told the story, and my guy was really big on the fact when it was over that they shook hands. I shook his hand when it's over, which means it's over. It ended. And people that have that policy, it's true. Guy, you get into it, it gets broken up, you got to go to class, and you're next time I see him type thing, then you're trying to get your buddies. I mean, it can turn into a whole thing. No, my guy shook hands, which means in his mind it's over. There is no need for the principal. There's no need for anything. We've shaken hands. You're probably thinking, I got this story from my guy who watered it down. He was the victim. The other kid was bigger and older. The other kid pushed him from behind. All the way complete with he shook his hand. That's probably what you're thinking. Well, I have the video. The classmates filmed the whole darn thing. This isn't a maybe that my guy went to side control and then he goes to knee ride, which are very advanced positions. It wasn't maybe that my guy reached out to shake hands. You know what made me... I don't like bullying. I can stand a fight. I would rather not see that. I'm not into the outside the cage stuff. That's not exciting for me. If there's going to be a fight, I'm not going to run over and watch it. That stuff that makes my stomach. I don't want to see that. But I don't like bullying. I think that you guys can relate to that. If this kid's older, that's intimidating. That's very intimidating. If you're a freshman in a school, it's a brand new school, and this thing's big, you've only been there for a few weeks, you're kind of getting your way around. Very intimidating to have an older guy. I mean, I can just stop you right there. Plus, he pushed him from behind. Then he goes into a headlock. I mean, it's just one of these tough spots. What bothered me is my guy was wearing a hoodie. He had his hood up. So now my guy also can't see. He's having to do this purely off of feel. He can't see. I thought that was bad. I mean, I hope if these two guys learn a lesson, it goes both ways, right? Don't pick on the younger boys. It's just mean. It's just mean. When this whole thing does end, my guy sticks his hand out. Tape cuts off right there. I did not see the other guy come up and shake his hand, but everything that my guy said happened. And he didn't know that there was a tape. And he damn sure didn't know that Coach Chael had his hands on the tape. Meant something to the principal, too. The fact that they shook hands meant something. They both got sent home for the day. Now, at Westland High School, if you get a one-day suspension or you get a rest of the day suspension, that's small. Very small things will get you suspended over there. Very small things will get you suspended for a week over there. Very small things will get you pulled off of your extracurricular activities, such as the wrestling team. The principal appreciated that those boys shook hands. Now, maybe that other guy will come and join the wrestling team, and he's certainly welcome to. Maybe he had the same experience that Joe had, that same revelation of, oh my goodness, I thought just being bigger and older was enough. It turns out skill does matter. Maybe he had that. He'll be very welcome, but what's my story? Because I know you guys got them too. And I actually really like hearing these stories of something that changed you. And I changed many times. I can think of the first one, which I did not like. I was a sophomore. Guy was a senior. We're backed up to each other in typing class. He reaches, unprovoked, he reaches over and pulls my shirt back. Ripped my shirt. I mean, first off, that's just a mean thing to do. But secondly, I didn't have very many shirts. Money wasn't flowing through the sun, and I only had so many shirts to wear. He just ripped one of them. I have looked for him for 30 years, by the way. Just to give him another opportunity, in case he's a shirt ripper. I want to give him an opportunity to rip one more. That's all I want to do. But I get the point. You want to know another tough one I had? First fight. When I had my first fight, Trevor Prangley, who's just a total stud, go up to fight Trevor Prangley. We both get $100. It's an amateur fight, but the guy was going to take care of our gas money. Go up to fight Prangley. And in my head, I'm unbeatable. I'm very confident. Very confident. Now, you can gain confidence in something, particularly if you never test it. You will meet local tough guys all the time, but they never actually tested it. They just got like a tattoo. Like they didn't actually do anything to be tough, but they believe it. They sincerely, truly believe it. It never gets tested. I was in that same situation. I never sparred a day in my life. I had to borrow the gloves that I put on. Gyms just weren't around. This was 1999. Gyms just weren't around. The term mixed martial arts didn't come out, or at least be adopted, until 2001. To put that in perspective for you, you wrestled over here and you maybe practiced a little something over here. So I got this fight. I'm going in with this guy, and I'm gonna hit him a few times. I was watching Don Fry tapes. Don Fry was a good inspiration for me for a period of time. Don Fry would come out, he'd pump this jab. He'd pump that jab. So that's what I'm going to do. It's all in my head. I got the whole thing. I'm going to circle this way. Bam, bam. I'm going to loosen this guy up with a jab. I'm going to land a cross. Eventually, I'm going to take him. I got the whole thing figured out. I never touched him once. I mean, truly, when we were on, and I did it just like I planned. I circled the way I plowed. Bam, bam. I'm throwing that jab out there. It's just missing. I don't understand the calculus and the geometry. I don't understand this term range. I got a moving touch right there. Here, I'll hit. Oh, I didn't hit him. I missed him. I didn't understand these things. I hadn't practiced it. And I would just tell you, after the fight, I went home and everything that I believed was true was not. That was a hard day. There's been other guys who have come to the UFC. There was a guy that even wrote about it. And he had his own fighting system. Like, he didn't go out there and represent pancration. He didn't represent Taekwondo. He didn't represent Jiu-Jitsu. He represented, and it was his. I think it was called SAFTA. There was a few guys at the time that were coming in with their own thing. And Bruce Lee did that with Jeet Kune Do. So they were the new era Bruce Lee, but they believed it. I mean, hey, these are legit tough. They were willing to step in there and prove it. They sincerely believed I have an understanding. Mark Kerr walked out, grabbed him in the head, kneed him one time, and the fight was over. The guy didn't have the foggiest idea what to do. No, I don't tease that guy. I praise him. I praise him for having the revelation, the same one that Joe Rogan, as a Taekwondo expert, found out when the guy headlocked him. I don't know a damn thing. The same revelation I had when I'm trying to do the Don Fry to Trevor Franklin, and nothing's touching him. You can learn from them. What are you going to do? That gentleman went off the map. He turned to drugs and alcohol. Now, he came out and spoke about it. I'm not at school here. And again, I am praising him. And I do have his name. I'm trying to be sensitive in case he still is sensitive about it. But when he came and wrote about it, I thought it was a very helpful piece. But there are those times where something gets revealed to you, and then it's fight or flight. Do you take the Joe Rogan path and then go spend a career studying and learning and evolving? Pretty cool story by Joe. And I got to give him credit for that. Maybe I'll throw myself in there. When these jabs weren't learned, then I go and get a boxing coach. Maybe I deserve a little credit for that too, because you can learn if you're looking to learn, or you can get scared, you go hide out and never do it again because you just got revealed what you thought was true isn't true. But if you guys have a story like that, you know, somebody that did something to you, but that motivated you. Instead of crying and whining and going and trying to tattle to somebody, it motivated you to make yourself better. If you have a story like that, drop it in the comments below.